So I want to talk to you today about something that I recently became deeply aware of, and that is the subject of the darkness of human nature. So, just like with everything else, we live in a world of duality. So there is the light and there's the dark. And I feel like in this world, what often happens is that we are in such fear of darkness. We have a deep shame around darkness, especially because we grow up in society that's extremely judgmental, critical, divided, in fact, into this paradigm of they are bad and I am good. And we live in a society that are stuck in a place of victimhood and blame and separation. And I feel at the core of this, which also affects our personal relationships with each other and ourselves, is this total rejection of the dark human nature. And what I mean by that is we often find ourselves in situations, people, groups, organizations that we feel repulsed by or we have a deep judgment of, and essentially we reject. It can be perhaps a world event that you're deeply triggered by, or perhaps an experience with an individual, a relationship. You may find yourself in a relationship where you feel like you're a victim. Maybe perhaps you're in a relationship with a narcissist, or you find yourself working for someone who's abusing you or using you. And unless we fully accept the fact that dark human nature exists, and it exists in all of us, it's essentially a primal aspect of ourselves, and when we reject that in others and in ourselves, we perpetuate separation, hate, and we perpetuate the pattern of victim-perpetrator, which just keeps feeding one into each other. And so the liberation is to first acknowledge that this darkness exists within all of us. The difference is whether we own it or we project it out. A classic example would be a priest who is condemning infidelity, hypersexuality, and at the same time molests little boys and is addicted to porn. That's an extreme example, but I feel like it's a good example, because whatever we don't own goes into the shadow and then expresses itself sideways, as I call it. So another example would be perhaps someone finds themselves in relationships with narcissists, and what happens is that it's really easy to project all this rage and hate towards a narcissist and feel victimized by them. And not that that's not true, but complete rejection of the fact that the human nature, the dark human nature exists, and especially that it exists in all of us. So in that example, someone who is deeply triggered by someone else and is in deep judgment and blame of someone else may need to look at themselves. Perhaps in a situation of a narcissist, that you are repressing your desire for control, dominance, self-centeredness, or perhaps this unconscious self-hatred, and that you're using essentially a narcissist to reflect that reality back onto you, so that you can wake up and you can connect to that anger that's deeply rooted inside of you. So what I would suggest and invite all of you to do is to learn to recognize these triggers. Learn to recognize when you feel victimized someone else's behavior, and perhaps allow yourself to feel this dark nature of someone else. Like acknowledge, like, wow, this person really doesn't care about me. How do I feel about that? Or this person really is, is indulging in something. Maybe I'm not allowing myself to indulge in that. Maybe that's why I'm judging them. And by accepting your own dark nature, you free yourself not only from being entangled with someone whose behavior or nature you're rejecting, but you're also taming that dark human nature within yourself. It doesn't mean that you're going to start accepting this hurtful behaviors from others, or agreeing with them, but you will be accepting that exists, and that it's okay to own that, the truth, the authenticity of that you yourself may have dark feelings and dark implications and desires. The difference is when you fully acknowledge, fully accept that, you start to own that monster that's inside of you. And when you fully see and accept that monster within the person in front, you no longer judge them, but you're objectively in relationship with them, which means that you can set boundaries without becoming a perpetrator back at them or wanting to hurt them the way that they hurt you. Now you're in an organic, healthy, grounded, self-aware, empowered relationship with the dark nature of humans. And it all starts with you owning, accepting the dark nature of yourself. It doesn't mean act on it. It doesn't mean become a narcissist. But it does mean own the truth, feel the truth, and perhaps give yourself permission to become a little selfish, or what might feel like being selfish, or to allow yourself to acknowledge that sexual fantasy that you have and feel the shame that might rise up from acknowledging that exists inside of you. And perhaps maybe when you do that, some feelings will come up from the origins of that repressed darkness. Perhaps the dark human nature of other humans have hurt you so badly that you became in judgment of that and repressed those energies, those emotions within yourself. And perhaps then you'll stop attracting those people into your life and make the world a better place.